Hi, I want to talk about 6 important things today. Let me put a name on them. These are the 6 things I want to talk about today, and I feel that it's my duty to share, to tell and inform everybody about 6 things you can do to up your own security. You don't have to do a lot of stuff. Many people think that you need to do a whole lot of things and stuff, and I'm not really gonna name it things and stuff right now. It's probably what most people say. Okay, so that guy over there from the security department, he or she said something like, and yeah, I get it. It's the same thing if I go and talk to some communication employee. It's like, I don't get half of it. So really, 6 things everyone should do. Before we get into this, I want to talk about how the war between Russia, well, I guess you could basically say, how is cybersecurity at the moment? Because of the war between Russia and Ukraine, there is a raised awareness. There are more hackers, there are more breaks, you can say that, more compromised servers and services. Countries are being more and more under attacks, and there's just a lot of things happening, which is why that many countries raise their security level to like 1 or 2 steps higher because of all the attacks happening at the moment. I know that for most of you guys just working at home, going to the job casually, you will not see things like that. You will never hear about it. You might just read something about something, on the newspaper because, well, you went to look on something, and you never really think about it twice afterwards. That is because there's a lot of employees thinking about insecurity, thinking about how to make your day of work for you. So basically, I'm just gonna say this is not for the security freaks, like some call me, like security freak, but I would like to say that security is for everyone. Even a carpenter, a professional work something, doesn't really matter who you are, what you're doing. Everyone these days have to do some sort of interaction with the computer on the email, or they have to use some sort of phone or something. Just with all the things you can have on your phone these days, I have Apple Pay, I have like Wallet, I think it's called. I have my passport, I have my social security, whatever it's called, insurance information. I have my email, I have a work email, private stuff. A lot of sensitive information that would be really good for GDPR, or just in sense, just sensitive information, or personal identifiable information, or PI information. On this phone, I can pay, have access to my bank. You need to do a few things, but it's not that difficult to just get the biometric data. I even think if you just take a static picture, hold it up against my phone, will it then unlock? I haven't really tried that, but think about it. Will your phone unlock to a static picture of yourself? I want to try that someday. I just don't have anything. I have a picture of my son, but I don't think that's gonna work. I can try, just without showing anything, but that's fun. Because it definitely reacted to the picture in some way. And that's a little picture. Alright, so I think it's about time to get started with this video. I'm just saying this is for everyone. It is not on the expert level. It is really easy, and I'm gonna do it as easy as I can. And I want to explain this in layman's terms, but of course I think this is the most important thing to keep the society going. In Denmark, at least where I'm from, in many countries in the north, in Europe, we are heavily digitalized, and we really need to focus on security. We need to focus on the people, the young people we educate, to have the focus on security as well, not just what they're gonna do, like the main task, with a little bit of security. That is what I aim to give, and I hope you will watch the video to the full end. What is a good enough password? You know, you can visit this URL here, and basically it's pretty easy. You just type in your password and then see how long it will take to crack the password. So let's have a look at it and see what happens. So let's click the link. Alright, so this is basically where we can enter a password, and you cannot see what you type. There are different ways to see the result, but not without knowing how to alter the source code of this website you're seeing. So let's just stick to the dotted lines, to the dots I mean. A standard password of, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 or 8 is instantly cracked because it is a well-known one. And even if you add on 9 and 10, you know, it doesn't really matter. 11, 12, 6 hours is nothing. Even though that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 19, 12, 14, whatever characters, it is not enough for the strength of the password, just having numbers and stuff like that. If you have something like you type an A and a B and a 1 and a C and a D and a 2, E and a F and a 3, already it's beginning to look like, how can I create a good password if I cannot use my standard knowledge when I create a password? Think about, you know, a story or something. Let me just say, once upon a time there was, whoa. You know, I didn't do anything crazy with a password. Just wrote once upon a time there was. I'm not saying you should do something like that, but I'm just saying that this is a really good way to create a password to test, is this a good idea for a password? Use stuff like this, security.org. It is a well-known channel, and it's been used by many authorities throughout the history. Now, if you scroll down, there is a guide to how to create a secure password and why security is important, especially for passwords, and basically some other stuff. I guess you should probably read it, and if you do that, you know, you will be tasked to do some of the things that I'm also recommending today, that you need to have some sort of antivirus software and password manager and stuff like that. So what about a common password like summer 22? That's 1 minute. What if I put a dot in the end, 1 day? Okay, so I put a dot in the front, 2 months. Now you're home safe, right? I wouldn't say no, because 2 months is still in the worst case scenario. I could still have this cracked in the very first attempt, so that's an instantly crack. I would say go up to at least something like in that area, you know, get up to the to around this tens of thousands of years. That is a good password. So I think that should be the goal of yours when you're going to choose a new password. So we're going back to the next one here. Let me see if I can make this maximized again. Activate two-factor authentication. Now, almost any service in some way you can activate multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. An extra factor basically means that you usually log into the account by providing a username and a password, which is also, you know, good you have something. But two-factor basically means you have one more factor. So that could be biometric. It's really easy for the phone, and most people stick to having biometric access alone, which is, I would say, for biometric access, probably okay, but I would definitely think about having two-factor authentication if your phone have a lot of sensitive information as well. Nonetheless, you also need to focus on all your accounts, your email accounts, your work accounts, phones, tablets, computers, whatever. enable that two-factor authentication, and it is really good idea to have biometric enabled in some way, because it is quite difficult to fool, let's say, biometric scanners, because they are really good these days. They're getting better and better, and I would like to say that if you do that, you're gonna be a lot more safe than not. If you, for example, is compromised by some phishing email, or someone tricks you to click a link and they steal your credentials from you because you give it to them, basically, that is very normal for a credential harvesting attack. They make you give them their username and password by providing some sort of legitimate, website that looks like legitimate, like I said. So that is really something you need to focus on. Two-factor authentication. It will actually not, the hackers will not be able to use your credentials if you have two-factor, because you only have one factor. You have a second factor as well, which is probably biometric. I guess you get the point now. So let's continue. That's really good idea to use a password manager. Now, most browsers have one built in. I use the one in Chrome mostly. I have on my computer. So whenever I log on to my one other device, if let's say I'm on my phone, I need to log in on some service that I logged on to my browser, then my phone also have that password saved in that password manager, because I use a Google account. And the Google account have a password manager built in Chrome, which is why I can access my other password. So basically I only have like one password at the moment I really need to remember. Else it's a bit difficult. If you have the possibility to go passwordless, meaning no password, that would be even more perfect, because then you don't have to go into the area of creating a password, which is actually eliminating a risk of you choosing a too easy to guess password or reused password. So if you click the link here from Cybernews, just the link I found on Google, I just use something, there are plenty. If you take this list, I just briefly looked at it and it looks fine. I used one of the top ones, so you're gonna be fine. Just by having nothing to having something will increase your security a whole lot, because what password managers can do is basically create extremely long passwords of 50 or 60 or even more characters that is completely jumble jumble, and it's gonna be impossible to guess or even crack or hack, whatever they call it. So I really recommend to use a really good password manager. Now, this is a common thing. People are talking about antivirus. Is that something we need? Are we really attacked by viruses and computers? Are we really exposed to that just as I am in the open? Well, no, not the same way. As a human running around the open, I breathe the air, I make other contact with other people. Now, computers, in that kind of sense, it basically means that on a computer you interact with the internet, and you is constantly in reaction with the internet. You breathe the internet traffic, and you open programs, you install programs. So that's an interaction with other entities, just like I'm an entity and another human being is another entity. So think about it that way. It's a bit more abstract, and then it's easier to grasp the idea of how a computer can actually get a virus, or just some malware, whatever it's going to be. In most occasions, it is because the user of the computer is not using the computer efficiently good. But there can also be security holes, and that's the other factor of it. So an antivirus program that can detect malware and malicious stuff running a computer is a must today. I'm not saying you should go out and buy the biggest and the biggest and the baddest, the 3Bs, the 2Bs, whatever, antivirus program. I'm saying that if you have Windows, the Windows Defender is good enough if you just keep it up to date. Say yes to updates and stuff like that. But elsewise, you can click the link here, and there are some free antivirus software solutions. And again, having something is better than having nothing. Okay, I'm not saying it's bad to have free antivirus. I'm just saying you can also pay for something you can get free sometime, and basically it's almost as good as the paid versions. Yes, update your software. Just do it, because so many people forget about it. I'm even a sucker for it sometimes. I probably have pending updates at the moment on my computer. It's just something that, if it was a production environment, I would definitely keep it up to date all the time. But I have heard and talked to many different system administrators, webmasters, whatever. They say like, oh, if I update it now, my fancy plugin will not work, or and it's, yeah, I get it, but it's an update because there was a security flaw, and you will be vulnerable if you don't update it. So I don't really think you have a choice. Okay, just update it. Just do it. Phishing email, the last recommendation for me. I have a YouTube video about phishing emails. Not really gonna go through all of it again in just this video, because this is an easy 6 steps video. But if you go to YouTube and type in security in mind, phishing emails, I'm pretty sure you should find it. Else, just go to my channel. You're watching this video, so you can just browse my channel, I assume, and you can just go to search and type phishing. It will pop up. I only have one video about phishing emails. Going back to the very start, 6 things all should be doing security-wise. I really hope you learned something for this video. I hope you will implement the 6 things that I recommend. And I hope you understand and got an idea of this is not a lot to do. If you're a non-tech person and you shiver with the idea of just opening a browser, or you find stuff like connecting your computer to a projector as a really advanced task, maybe you need to ask someone. Don't be afraid to ask. It is okay to ask. I even have to ask someone sometimes about stuff, because I don't know everything. I know some things, and I really want to share the things that I know with you guys watching my YouTube channel, because I feel that sharing security is something that is so important for the society these days, because of the heavily digitalized world we're living in, and the society we're living in, especially in Denmark. Everything is more or less put down to some IoT device, and it's on the internet, or it's broadcasting signals, and everyone could basically just pick the signals up. Hey, so that's it for this video. Hope you learned something. See you again soon. Bye.